Welcome to episode 3 of Chips and Salsa. Jerry, do you know what time it is?
Hey, well, it's the second Tuesday of the month.
What does that mean?
It must be Update Tuesday.
It's Tuesday! Woo, woo!
So, yeah, today we are releasing 2 advisories that we're going to talk about today.
And so the first security advisory in this spooky October release is Intel SA00544. This covers 2 issues in the Intel Hardware Accelerated Execution Manager, which I lovingly call HAXM. This is an open source project that is a cross-platform hypervisor, and it's widely used with Android emulation. There are 2 medium severity CVEs that are addressed in this advisory. The first allows an unauthenticated user to escalate privilege via local access, and the second allows for information disclosure, also via local access. And just so everybody understands that the attacker, in order to exploit these, must have either physical possession, physical access to that vulnerable system, or have a local account on that system. And cool thing was, both of these issues were coordinated through our bug bounty program. We recommend that users update to version 7.66 or later, and at this time, Intel's not aware of any active exploits using these vulnerabilities.
Yeah, and the next advisory, Intel SA00548, represents one externally reported issue in the Intel SGX Software Development Kit, or SDK. So this issue carries a CVSS score of 8.2. And to help customers better understand the issue and the steps to mitigate, CRob and I spoke to Simon Johnson, a senior principal engineer here at Intel and one of the SGX program architects. So Simon, thank you for joining us to talk about this advisory. You're a senior principal engineer here at Intel and one of the program architects for SGX. Can you describe your role?
So my day-to-day role for the last few years with SGX is really to the SGX program is a many-part puzzle: software, hardware, firmware, and really my ecosystem enablement. And really, my role has been help the program keep all those pieces in track and the many different architects that work across that, make sure they're fulfilling the right requirements of our customers and our developers as we go forward. So that's my day-to-day job.
Okay. So what about this advisory? What's the key issue and what are the likely scenarios?
So this particular issue is concerning how the SGX SDK has stack handling built within it. And there is, under some limited circumstances, and we can go into what those limited circumstances will look like. Under certain limited circumstances, that can lead to a loss of confidentiality. So what we've done is chosen to do is to address the particular issue within the SDK stack handling and reissue the SDK.
Okay, and this is not all SGX implementations. This is a newer SGX implementation, correct?
So with the SGX SDK, this really impacts the use of the SDK on SGX2 enabled platforms. So this is where the Ice Lake is one of our first mainstream products to support SGX2. There was an Atom processor that supported SGX2 as well, and then of course Ice Lake Client also supports SGX2, and that feature really adds the capability to do sort of like more dynamic paging. Now you don't actually have to be using the dynamic paging capability in its entirety. There's an enable select feature that might enable one of the limited circumstances under which this would occur. So really, if you're writing your software on for an SGX1 platform, for the most part, this doesn't apply. There's a limited circumstance for we had an old out of tree driver for Linux, and if you're not using that, then this really doesn't apply.
Okay. So
that's
at
helpful.
this point, Users can just download the latest version of the SDK, recompile, and good to go.
Yes. So there's a couple of things you can do when you recompile your enclave. So there's this field known as ISV SVN, and so that's used as part of sort of like the key derivation process. So when you basically take your application, you shouldn't have to change your application at all. This is pretty much in the software that's unseen by the application. You just do your rebuild your application. Now, because of the code in the SDK will have changed, the hash value known as MR enclave or Mr. enclave will change, and so your key would change inside the enclave. Now, and so you have to produce a separate signing structure, also known as SIG-struct, that goes along with the enclave. But within SIG-struct, there's this security version number value. That's what SVN stands for. And there's sort of like the developer version, which we always refer to as the ISV, independent software vendor. So the ISV SVN is there to indicate that this is a new version of new security version of your enclave. And so we would recommend also that you tick forward that value. The idea is that's supposed to be a monotonically increasing number for the particular enclave that you're writing. So in this case, we would recommend certainly tick forward that value by 1. And then that will give the different key derivation schemes that are used within the eGet key instruction for securing your data that's delivered to the enclave. Gives you the ability to deliver a different generation of key for that.
All right. Well, thank you, Simon. I think that covers it for today. Those using the SDK for Windows should move to version 2.13 or later.
Yes.
And for Linux, 2.14 or later. So please take a look at the advisory and look for any actions that you may need to take. So again, thanks, Simon. And
you're welcome. Thank you, guys. Cheers.
And that's going to be a wrap this month on the October advisories for Chips and Salsa. I'm CRob.
I'm Jerry.
And we want to thank you again. Have a great day.